So the new album, Wuthering Heights, is finally out by Charli xcx, who, I remember, yeah, it being announced when, like, the film was being announced, because obviously this is basically, I mean, I believe the soundtrack to the film. I don't know if that just means there's only 12 songs in the film, I don't know. But I know all the songs are done by her, and this is the album for that, so technically, this is a soundtrack album. Technically not. She isn't classing it as that. It is actually her next solo album. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm a big fan of her, and I think I heard her say it's similar to True Romance, which I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the biggest fan of that album, but then again, it's hard to sort of compare it to a 13-year-old album. I'm sure it's just that, but better. So we'll see. But here we go. As I said, it's only like that soundtrack sort of album, so who knows if the lyrics are gonna be about her or whatnot. I don't know. But here we go. Let's jump in. So House I've heard. There's 3 singles. Wall of Sound I've heard, and Chains of Love I've heard. So I'm actually going to skip them, only because, I mean, they're like months old now and I've heard them and I want to get into the new stuff. So Dying For You at track 3.
Ever since I can remember, I felt it in my bones. A tragic destiny was reserved for me all on my own. But oh, I didn't know why. Oh no, no, I didn't know. But then I saw your face and realized I was dying for you. Cause you're a gun to my head and you're a wound in my chest. Yeah, you're my favorite jewelry one, just like a noose round my neck. I'm losing gallons of blood, the river's turning to red. I got a smile on my face, I didn't even know. All the pain and torture that I went through all makes sense to me now. I was dying for you, I was dying for you, I was dying for you. Even right at the end, I'll keep dying for you. All the pain and torture that I went through all makes sense to me now. I was dying for you, I was dying for you, I was dying for you. I'll keep dying for you, I'll keep dying.
Of course, very loud production, very cinematic, which is totally different from Brat, which is of course very sort of rave-like, sort of bubblegum pop, I think they call it. But it started off like her voice was very sort of reverby, very echoey, and then on the hook it really like came in and really deepened out. See what I mean? I don't even find that hook repetitive. It's catchy, you know. I take it that's her voice. Chopped up. Oh. Now it definitely is. Very trippy. Still changing. Like I said, just sort of chopping up the vocals rather than, you know, having a lot of vocals at the moment. Sort of just like an instrumental at this point. Ooh, I didn't know if that was going to transition when it started doing that. But yeah, I mean, there's no denying the production of this. Of course, like I said, if it's going to be made for a film, it's going to sound very anthemic, very cinematic. And yeah, 100% it did. Like, basing it off Wall of Sound, I think that one had a few more layers to it, and obviously it started changing, like, even sort of 1 minute left of the song, it just changed like 3 different times. So yeah, not a huge amount of vocals, but it was still very catchy, very well done. And here we go, Always Everywhere. And if you don't know Wuthering Heights, I'm sure if you like her, you would know the film, because you would see what it's about when she announced it. But if you don't know, it's like I think it's very sort of like costume drama, like old fashioned. So you're gonna have this very sort of, I don't know, like Victorian sort of sound to it, which is what I'm getting at here.
On the hillside, shadows chase the dawn. Your name is carved where the world went. Black flowers burn, violet fades to grey. Still I hear your laughter tearing through the rain. I can't escape the storm you gave me. Constant lightning in my
Very
veins.
ambient.
Every echo calls your name, calls your name, calls your name. Flash right back at me. Always everywhere. Always everywhere. Yeah, you're always everywhere. Always everywhere. On the water, your face on top of mine. A fevered dream of mirrored features, hungry eyes.
This is sort of the opposite. It's more vocals, less instrumental. It's just like a synth pad.
Escape the storm you gave me. Constant lightning in my
I guess in a way the tracklist doesn't really have an effect because they're going to be for the film,
calls your name.
so they don't really go off like the tracks before.
Always everywhere. Always everywhere. Yeah, you're everywhere. Always everywhere. Always everywhere. Yeah, you're everywhere.
Wow. Mm. Okay, yeah, a much slower track, but yeah, it was beautiful. I think obviously, yeah, I mean, Dying for You, as I said, it was sort of like a repeated word as the chorus, and so was this one. Not saying that doesn't work, it still worked fine, but yeah, in terms of the hooks compared to the singles, these ones aren't, it seems to just be like sort of the same, yeah, like phrase repeated. And then Chains of Love we've heard, which is probably my favourite out of the singles. And then next up we have Out of Myself.
You take me out of myself. My fingers gripping the floorboards. I'm holding on tight. Forbidden fruit brought me back to life. You take me
Wow.
out of myself. Who
God.
am I, your girl? Push my cheek into the stone.
Sounds like a similar beat to House. Very abrasive.
You take me out of myself. You hold the world. You take me out of myself. Am I your girl? You take me out of myself. Put the rope between my teeth. You take me out of myself. Please rub the salt in my wounds. I like the person you turn me to. You take me out of myself. Who am I?
Ooh, got the violin.
Push my cheek into the stone. You take me out
It's weird. It's got like a great sort of mix of like bridging that old-fashioned sound into modern day. Ooh. Different way of saying it now. That was great, yeah. Again, like when you listen to her, a lot of the stuff isn't very Sorry, I was gonna let that play out. Yeah, you're not really going into her tracks for lyricism, obviously, but like that's because, you know, the production is so interesting, and the way she sort of blends in her voice and uses her voice in that way with, you know, auto-tune or chopping it up or whatnot, and then different fluctuations. Although, like, I'm sure the lyrics for that track, they're not on here at the moment, but I'm sure a majority of it is just out of myself as that phrase, but it's still, it doesn't feel repetitive, it doesn't feel like there's not enough, you know what I mean? If anything, if you added more, it might have been too much, who knows? And then open up. Wow. Sort of like surround sound in a way. Yeah, definitely. It's in the left now. I mean, that would be great in the cinema. It's like a dream. I think this is more of like an interlude, or just like in a short moment of the film or whatnot, a short scene. God, it is. It's really like panoramic. Ooh, and that fade out. What a great fade out. Yeah, like I said, that was sort of like a shorter track, as I said, maybe like in a shorter clip or a scene. So yeah, nothing too crazy, but it does it well, and then seeing things.
It was in the winter, on a busy crossroads. Saw a man about your height, just walking. Same kind of shoulder.
That's why it's so interesting with these soundtrack sort of albums, because like I said, the track listing doesn't really mean a lot. So you just never know what to expect for what the next song will sound like. You can hear it building up. Ooh. Sounds very different to what we've heard. I still feel like it's building up though. Okay, went back down. I thought it was going to be like a beat drop or something. Surprised that sort of whatever that is in the background is played throughout the whole entire song. Yeah, that's a great hook. Ooh, piano. That's great. What is that? It's like a messing with her voice a bit. It's like a high pitched sort of. That was great. Again, yeah, one of my favourites, I think. And then altars or altars.
As I kneel before your altar, begin to cry.
I thought she was going to say wonder.
You were my perfect blue, my hands together in a search for proof. Silence rang out from your window. One is not the loneliest number. Won't keep putting all my faith in you. One is not the loneliest number. Got me turning far away from you. I'm at your altar, baby. I once believed,
High notes.
believed I was free. I'm at your altar, baby. Now I can see you're gonna end up killing me. Oh, I must only be one. As I lie awake in this room, I begin to pray.
Pray this time.
You and I so violently could be together in forbidden scenes. My mind is
It's nice.
torturing
Definitely a slower one.
body. One is not the loneliest number. Won't keep putting all my faith in you. One is not the loneliest number. Got me turning far away from you. I'm at your altar, baby. I once believed I was free. I'm at your altar, baby. Now I can see I must only be one. I must
God.
only be one.
Love those drums. Yeah, that wasn't anything too crazy. It was like I said, a slower one, but also quite like the chorus and when it actually, you know, all the layers came in. But next up we have Eyes of the World, which is featuring Sky Ferreira. So obviously House had John Cale, and then there's only 2 features on here. Who knows how that's gonna work or what that's gonna sound like? Here we go. It's cool how they actually, like, ever since Brat and the whole remix thing, she's done it in the actual title, saying featuring, rather than like the usual in brackets.
Watch me leave the girl behind. There's a shadow. Plum projections on my mind. Something that you recognize. Do you think you know me now?
Okay, so that's her
No
then.
matter what I do, no matter what I say, you're gonna think the things you think about me anyway. Put my flesh upon the cross until I scream.
Can't even tell, they sound so similar.
The eyes of the world.
The way that came in.
What I see. The eyes of the world keep me believing in me.
Definitely see that working well in the song. I think she was, that was her earlier, I think. Unless it just sounded like her and it actually was just Charli. I think she was there a bit at the start. Sounds like Lord.
No matter what I do, no matter
Yeah, that bit.
Think about me anyway, put my flesh upon the cross until I scream.
God. That sounds different than the last one. Way more like distorted vocals. Similar again to House later on in the song. Wow. Okay. Ooh. It's just so like airy. Ooh, wow, that was a great outro there. Yeah, that was cool. I like that one. They both, of course, worked really well together. Sometimes I didn't even notice, like their voices just blended in. And then next we have Reminder. Sorry, My Reminder.
You're always my
Okay.
reminder of where I
Interesting beat. I wonder if there's production credits. There is. I know Joe Kerry also worked on this in like the writing. I'll look afterwards.
I'll never prove you wrong. I'm not gonna be a bitter rival.
Okay.
We grew together in the same four walls.
Sounds so different there.
But there's
I
competition.
see what she means by that true romance sort of sound. I think this song sort of shows that.
Blood relation that I can't outrun. I don't hate you, we're just different. No, I don't hate you, we're just
I can't really see this working in a scene. Maybe this bit. Production, it's crazy. It sounds more sort of like mainstream. Like very sort of pop like, I don't know. I'm sure they fit it in there somehow. Ooh. What is that? In the right ear. It's like someone trying to play the violin. I don't know, the drums are quite simple. But there's all these little bits coming in. Sounds great though. Yeah, that was great when that bit came in. I don't know, a lot of these are just like, it just comes in so suddenly. Like it's sort of like a slow build up. Or sometimes it doesn't even sort of build up. And then it just comes in and just hits you. like on the chorus. And that one was definitely like an example of that. And the final track, Funny Mouth. So who knows if this is going to sound like an outro sort of track or not. Again, I don't know if this is in order of the film. I don't know if all of them are going to be in the film. I don't know if they're the only ones that are going to be in there. But either way, I'm still going to take it as an album.
Funny words from your funny mouth. I take them inside. If there's a light, don't let it go out. Take it in stride. Put your foot in your mouth. Will we be alright? Alright.
Jesus. Okay, this is very distorted. Okay. It's crazy how that's gonna sound or even work in the film. Again, it has that like old-fashioned, like the violins in the back, I think. But it just comes in with those like synth electronic gunshot sounds, like. But it actually works, and there's definitely like a great blend of that genre. It's very interesting. Here we go. Build up. I swear that's longer than the last one. Oh. I thought it was gonna go in then. This is definitely very similar to House.
Everyone sleeps and everyone wakes up and everyone wakes up.
Like even that sort of sound, when it was like in the calmer bit, that's literally sounds like the start of House. And then of course that, you know, the bit where it drops definitely does. Like the way it's like all distorted and so loud. So yeah, what an interesting, yeah, like just blend of genres there. Like it's weird how that's actually worked. Like it's of course a very cinematic sound, of course, for a movie. But it also, like I said, it uses those violins, those sort of softer and like, in a way, like sort of medieval sort of sounds, which does like sort of fit that old-fashioned vibe. But then it just completely modernizes it, especially on like the beat drops and the hooks and stuff. And just, yeah, all the layers, the vocals, of course, and of course it all uses auto-tune and stuff. But yeah, all of that blended together actually works somehow, and it was a great experience. Again, some of the songs, you know, they are slower because they're probably for like slower scenes and stuff, and they're just sort of, you know, not every track is going to be a banger, of course, for a movie. But as, you know, as the album goes and taking that into account, it's done a great job at that. So it's definitely not one that I'm going to really... Well, I say that, but I was going to say, yeah, I'm not really going to compare it to others, but it still sounds like a Charli xcx album, you know? But also for a movie, for like a costume drama, which is so interesting to see how that's going to be like. But yeah, great. I mean, definitely different coming off Brat, of course, and it's cool how like she didn't just carry on that. She could have just, you know, doubled down and did more of that, but in like a similar but different way. But this is like, in a way, going back, but also making it even crazier because it's like so, you know, cinematic, as I said, which is obviously, you know, on purpose for the movie. But yeah, I mean, there's still some great like standout tracks that don't even sound like it's for that, and they're just songs that you could listen to, you know. Like, there's some songs from films where, like, you wouldn't ever listen to it on the daily because, you know, they're for film and you have to be in that mode. But there's some songs on here that you would just listen to if you're a fan of her, you know? I do think, like, Wall of Sound and Chains of Love, they do work well as singles in terms of, like, getting the mainstream in and people that are, I don't know, more like casual listeners, I guess, and just who want, you know, like, radio songs, because those are, like, the sort of mainstream sounding songs, whereas other ones, like that last one, you know, it's very slow, it's a great build up, but it is like an album track, but also like a movie track. But yeah, I mean, I love the singles. I loved Dying For You was a great one. Out of Myself wasn't too bad. Open Up was great as well. Even Seeing Things. And then I also liked the My Reminder too. So yeah, I mean, quite a short album as well. I thought, like, again, like, it's weird. I don't know if these are the only songs going to be used. I don't think so. I think there's going to be others that are just like instrumentals, because they're not all going to have vocals, I suppose, in the actual film. So I'm sure there's just like a load of instrumental tracks by the producers, but then again, these tracks are also going to be in there. But what I'm saying is, they could have made this like really long for a film, like a proper, like, really long soundtrack, but it was quite a short album, like, we're already done. And I sort of like wanted more in a way, but overall it was great. Like, it did it really well. So yeah, that was my reaction of Wuthering Heights by Charli xcx. Comment down below what you think of it and what you thought of my reaction. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a great album. So if you did enjoy it, hit that like button down below. And if you're new to the channel, this is my second channel where I do like music reactions of any like new stuff that comes out. I mean, who knows, I could go back and do old stuff, but as I said on my first video, I've already listened to like more than 500 different albums, and I've only now just started doing recordings of them. So I think it's just going to be whatever's new from this point onwards, which I think is quite good. And it's also a great year to do it because there's some great stuff coming out each week. I mean, next week we got Baby Keem, which is mental. I couldn't believe when he posted that because, as we said, and as everyone has been saying, it's been 5 years since the Melodic Blue, and then the rollout was all done in like 5 hours, which was so weird. Like, he's announced a tour, there's been like a documentary, the track list and everything, the features, like, it's all there. So I'm really excited for that one. I've been waiting for that. And then I think it's, yeah, the next week there's Bruno Mars, there's some James Blake down the road, there's some Gorillaz, there's Harry Styles, there's Kanye, Bully, if it does come out. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff. So this is my second channel for that. So you can subscribe to the channel if you'd like to. And that was Wuthering Heights. And bye bye.